You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob, and this video, we're going to talk about Charlie's Angels, because why not? Everybody else is. But we're going to do something a little different in this video. Instead of coming in here and talking about the whole get woke, go broke motto that everybody likes to talk about, we're going to actually discuss why this movie really failed. We can obviously give our opinions on whether it's political injection. Of course, that has something to do with it. Attacking men, that has something to do with it. But I think this movie was doomed to fail regardless of what anybody had to say, whether it had to do with men or anything. I've been kind of keeping my eye on this particular movie because it was a movie starring women. It was yet another reboot. And it actually has some great talent in there. I am a huge Elizabeth Banks fan. I have loved her from the moment I saw her in The 40-Year-Old Virgin. I thought she was pretty wild and crazy. And then from that point forward, I've pretty much loved everything she's done. I loved her in the Pitch Perfect movies, and I've enjoyed that series because it's something that me and my wife would share together watching. I enjoyed her in Power Rangers. I thought she was great as Rita Repulsa. I have loved everything she's done. I'm going to be very forward about that. And then you have the cast. Now, Naomi Scott, very familiar with. She obviously starred as Princess Jasmine in Aladdin. She was also in the Power Rangers movie, and I liked her in there. You have Kristen Stewart, who, despite the fact that she's got a stigma with her when it comes to certain fans and everything, she does have talent. She does. I think, going back and remembering the whole Twilight series and then seeing her going forward progress, I think she's gotten a lot better. I've made the same argument about Robert Pattinson. A lot of people criticize his casting for Batman, and I said, give it a minute, because Robert Pattinson is a very talented actor. So why did this movie fail? Well, again, we can make the argument about get woke, go broke in comments, and we'll get into that shortly, because it's not even about getting woke, going broke, or political agendas or anything like that. I'm going to share with you why this movie failed. Here's the first thing. And if by some miracle someone in Hollywood gets to see this, I want you to pay very, very close attention to this part. In fact, I think I'll even move into the camera a little bit. Okay, ready for this? Okay, here we go. I'm going to move the camera in so you get exactly what I'm trying to say here. All right, here we go. Moving in closer. Charlie's Angels, nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit. Who gives a shit about Charlie's Angels? Honestly. Who cares about Charlie's Angels? We had the movie rebooted, 10 plus years ago? And it was a success. It was a success. Cameron Diaz, Lucy Liu, Drew Barrymore, it did very well. One of the reasons it did well was because that was a show that hadn't been touched, or it was an IP that hadn't really been thought about for a long time up to that point. And those ladies were very talented. And they did a great job. I enjoyed the movie when I saw it. Number 2, stop the reboots. Can we stop? Let's stop the reboots. Can we stop rebooting everything? Why is this necessary? Why, if there's one movie, many movies don't need a reboot, or many IPs don't require a reboot. But if you're going to reboot something, at least reboot something that hasn't been seen in the dawn of light for a long time. And at least don't reboot something that we just got within the last 20 years. Don't. And I know people say, oh, well, they did it with Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a much more popular IP than Charlie's Angels. Let's just be forward. Let's be straight up. The other thing, with that said about Kristen Stewart, because I do think she's gotten a lot better over the years, and she's actually probably wants to be more of a director than she does an actress, she unfortunately does have a stigma with her. And that stigma, whether fair or not, it's there. It's going to pretty much follow her with whatever movie she does. I don't know how she can work around it. I don't know how she can get rid of it. Maybe she needs to do a solo movie where she's a star and she can kind of like shine. But unfortunately, she's got a stigma about her. A lot of people are not huge fans of her, unfortunately, but that's just how it is. Then you have The director, she's someone that was not that experienced, and obviously her first time coming out directing an action movie, perhaps maybe get some assistance, maybe get a little help, a little feedback, maybe get a co-director, someone who's a little specializes in this kind of thing. These are all elements that play into this. But the biggest element is the reboot. That is because look, 8 million at the box office, guess what? That's not all men. That's women too. That's telling you that nobody, zero, had interest in Charlie's Angels. Nobody had interest. So, I mean, yeah, I'm sure a lot of the political talk and the overabundance of carrying, expressing the fact that there's women in this movie and it's a female power movie. Look, that's all fine and well. You can make a female power movie and it'll still be a huge success. There have been plenty of female-led movies that have been successful. You don't need to preach to the choir for it to be successful. And you don't need to reboot a female franchise for women to be successful in movie theaters. Watch how successful Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow is next year. Bet you that'll make bank. You know what I mean? And there's going to be a lot of men to go see that. Why? Because that character has grown through the MCU. A lot of men, a lot of people, both men and women, have expressed their desire to see a Black Widow singular movie. I mean, this is evidence right here that this is not about men or men not supporting female movies. But you got to go out there and pitch your movies as entertainment, not as political statements or political ideologies. One of the things she said, and I'll pull the article here because my supporters say I need to start doing more article videos so I can grow, because that's what the 200,000 Club YouTubers tend to do. So here we'll look at this. Charlie's Angels director Elizabeth Banks blamed men for box office failure nearly a week before the film hits theaters. So essentially, she said, and I'll scroll down here so if you guys want to check it out while I talk, because I did go through this already. She said that if Charlie's Angels fails, it's going to be because men do not support female movies or the stereotype in Hollywood is still there. Look, I will admit there is a stereotype for men doing action movies and women doing more so romance or rom-coms. That's kind of always how it's been. That's nobody's fault. If anything, you could blame Hollywood for developing it that way. So why should the audience get blamed for a movie not appealing to men that star women in action roles? This has been a development from Hollywood for years. Hollywood has always put men of all color front and center in action films, and women more or less front and center in rom-com, romance comedies, romance drama, stuff like that. That's not the audience's fault. You have developed that demographic for years. Now, changing that demographic, it can be challenging, yes, but we have seen, it has been proven that if you put a good story, a non-reboot good story, with a female lead, you will garner interest from all genders. But all two of them. Sorry, that's just what I believe in. You got Aliens. Alien and Aliens with Sigourney Weaver. You know what I mean? Even as recent as the Star Wars films. Rey, right? In Star Wars, The Force Awakens and the new trilogy. You have Felicity Jones in Rogue One playing Jyn Erso. She was the lead there. And I love that movie. I liked The Force Awakens. People that don't like the Last Jedi, it's not because of Daisy Ridley. It's because it was a shitty movie. It was the story. It had nothing to do with the female lead. There are plenty of movies with female leads that do perfectly fine. She also went on to say that even though Wonder Woman was a movie that did very well, she believes that it did well not because, and that men went to see it, not because there was a female lead, but simply because of the fact that it was part of a broader story. Now, that could be true to a certain extent, but you ask any man who went to see Wonder Woman and they loved it, and it had nothing to do with the fact that the next Batman movie was coming, or maybe the next Superman movie was coming, or the next Flash movie. They loved it because it was a good story. Gal Gadot did a fantastic job She killed it in that movie. And Gal Gadot, the star of the movie, wasn't going out there pitting the blame on men as to whether or not the movie would do well. If anything, she got hammered by a lot of people on Twitter for other, like something about her armpits not having hair or some shit like that. This ridiculous stuff. So kind of preemptively blaming the failure of this movie on the fact that men didn't want to go see it, you're not going to guilt people into watching your movie. You know, if you know anything about men, we don't work well on guilt. We're very resistant to guilt trips. Doesn't work well. And I haven't seen this movie. I'm not going to go see it in the theaters simply because I don't support trying to be guilted into seeing a movie, or I don't support taking the blame for your failure. It has nothing to do with me. And that's unfortunate, because what if I did go see this movie and I liked it, despite what people might be saying about it? I can't take what other people say seriously. Everybody has an agenda. I got to judge a movie based on how I feel about it after I come out the theater. So yeah, I'm going to see Charlie's Angels, but I'm not giving you my money. Why should I? You're trying to put the blame on me. I'll see your movie when it becomes free on Amazon Prime, or it becomes free on Netflix or Hulu or Disney, whatever. At some point within the next 6 months, that movie will be free to watch, and that's when I'll watch it. And I hope I do like it. I like to be entertained. That's the number one reason many people that you blame, you or any other person in Hollywood blame for their failures, that's the only reason people go to your movies or watch a show or play a game. They want to be entertained. Nobody wants to be lectured to. Nobody wants to be have the finger pointed at them because they did not go see a movie. And you want to know what? To be honest, even if this wasn't any political stuff in there, even if you didn't point the finger, even if you said, look, this is going to be a great movie for all audiences, I hope everybody comes out, check it out. Even if this had nothing to do with men, women, or anything, this movie still would have failed. You know why? Nobody gives a shit about Charlie's Angels. Nobody gives a shit about reboots anymore. People want fresh, new ideas. And if you're going to reboot something, you better reboot something that's pretty old that people are very fond of. You know, like if somebody did a Buck Rogers movie, I'd go see that. I love Buck Rogers. You know what I mean? He needs to come out. Buck Rogers needs to come out to the light a little bit more now. But see, that's something that's so many years old, and that unless you go back and watch reruns, that's a good reboot in my opinion, or at least an attempt. But if you try to reboot a movie that we just saw like 15 years ago, and then you're pitching it as a movie that is girl power, which is fine. You want to pitch it as girl power, it's fine. But don't go too heavy-handed. It's a turnoff. And it's not only a turnoff to men, it's a turnoff to women. The $8 million at the box office says a lot. That says nobody went to see this fucking movie. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. We'll probably have some more tonight. I just kind of wanted to take a break from my writing here and just kind of really try to talk about this and let people know that it's more than just the whole political thing that a lot of people are talking about out there today. I know there's the whole get woke, go broke videos out there. There's not going to be any shortage of them. And sometimes I wish I could take both sides of the aisle and just smash their heads together and say, enough. You know, this movie failed. This movie was doomed to fail well before anybody had anything political to say. The movie failed because nobody gives two shits about Charlie's Angels. They don't. Try 40 years from now. Try again. Maybe you'll do better. But not 15 or however many years after the original. It's just stupid. It's stupid. All right, guys, that's it. I'll see you guys all soon. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.